Okay, you guys, today is a very special day because I'm gonna open up this new pressure canner that I bought. I've been waiting for this to be invented. Da 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 da! This is by Presto. It's their digital pressure canner. And why I like it so much, first of all, it's electric, and I've been wanting an electric canner forever. So I trust this brand because they came out actually with the first pressure canner. It was, I looked this up for you, in 1939, the New York's World Fair, they came out with a pressure canner and they introduced it at the World's Fair. So they've been around forever, and these guys know what pressure canning is all about. Did you notice that it said USDA safe canning guidelines? It's approved. It meets the guidelines. So that's what made me decide to buy it. I decided to buy it right away because I was worried, like everything else, it would sell out like crazy. So let's open this up, shall we? Okay, so first up, you get your instruction book. Then there's this trivet, power cord, the greatest thing. Oh, it's very heavy. I'll put this down on the ground. Ugh. This thing is huge. And it's not one of those multifunctional cooker canners. This is strictly a canner. And the reason why I got this is because I want to can low acid foods. And that includes like seafood, meat. So here we go. This guy looks really good. It's nice and big. I'll have to read the instructions and we'll come back because we are canning today. Yes, we are. I bought corn. I want to can corn. So let's check this thing out. It's huge. It's about 2.5 times the size of my 6-quart Instant Pot. And just for comparison, I put this out for you. This is my old Presto pressure canner. I've had it for, oh gosh, a long time, like over 20 years. I started because my husband would go deep sea fishing. I would smoke the fish and then I would can it. So that's why I learned to can, was to preserve the fish he caught. Okay, so to open up this bad boy, you have to do this and pull up on the lever. And then you take this and twist the top just like you do on the Instant Pot. I messed up on the recording for setting the timer, so I took this from the potato video. Corn is 55 minutes for pints. And then you want to fill up your jars halfway with water, and then we're going to start this process. So I'm going to plug this in, and we're going to set our timer. So we're going to choose pressure can. And the time we want for potatoes, since I'm using the big jars, and small jars, I'm using a variety of jars. It's half pints. You always want to go with the largest jar. And so 40 minutes is what the pint jar is supposed to be set for. Okay, and we can go ahead and hit that, insert the jars. We've got the jars inserted. And we're good to go. Okay, so before putting on the lid, a couple things you need to check is making sure that the vent filter is not clogged up with anything and doesn't have any debris, so check that out. And it just simply lifts off like so. So you just want to make sure it's free and clear. And then also you want to make sure that your sealing ring is securely tucked in and it's not off kilter anywhere. So just do a quick look at that. Otherwise, you could be getting an error message way into your canning process and you have to start the process all over when that happens. So when you attach the lid, you make sure that this groove part is inserted into this section here, and the pressure valve is in the back, and then you just will turn it and then it goes to lock. And then we can just simply take our green lever, press it down and twist. Okay, so to then warm the jars, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and that's going to warm the jars up. This process will take about 20 minutes. And so what I can do now is I'm going to prep my corn. So to do the corn, I just have a big bowl with a little bowl inside, and I'm just going to hold it up like this. I'll take off this part. And then I'm just going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut the corn, and then the kernels are going to fall into the bowl. One thing that I read is they have fancy cob scrapers, and I think it was the ball book said not to scrape it but to cut it, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And those ends just snapped off. I didn't have to cut it off. This is great. I got 6 ears of corn for like 33 cents a cob. So it was like $1.34 for 6 cobs. And we'll see how much I get. And you want to try to take off the little hairs if you could. I shuck these outside because I just didn't want to have a big mess. So I've tried growing corn in the past, and I can't grow it very well. The bugs get to it, the ants bring the aphids, it's a big mess. So I just decided to give up on corn. Plus, it's a pain to dig out. And it's sad when you don't even have a successful crop and you have to clean up after it. Now these bad parts, obviously I'm not going to include that. So it beeped twice and this filled jars popped up. So now I can remove the lid like I showed you before. You twist this and then you lift, and then you take the handle and you twist and lift. There you go. Jars are nice and hot and clean. So now what I'm gonna do, and I might have to do this off camera, but I'm gonna take one jar out, empty out the water, set it on here, and then fill it. Okay, so the ball book says, which is like the canning Bible, to leave at least 1 inch from the top, which I have. And now I'm gonna pour my water, and it also said do not press down or shake the corn. So you just leave it as is. And I'm using filtered water. And then what I'm gonna do is take a non-metallic thing like this chopstick. You could use a spatula, and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have any air bubbles in here. Okay, so like, I wonder if the camera will pick this up, but there's an air bubble right there. So I'm just gonna go in there and poke at it and get those air bubbles out. And it looks good. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I heat it up. You don't wanna boil the lids because the lids have a seal and it'll take off the seal and then it won't, you know, there's like a gum on it, like a little adhesive. So I just use hot water, not boiling water, and I put that on. Then I'm gonna get my band and I will twist that on there and make sure that it's tight, but not like crazy tight, okay? And then I'll stick that back in and get the next one and repeat the process. So I did a variety of different jars because I sometimes don't need a lot of corn. By the way, the hairs are called silks. So what I meant by not needing a lot, like maybe you want to add corn to a salad, you know, you don't want to add a whole can of corn. So I did some small ones for that situation. See, the cookie sheet is good because it's going to catch any of the runaway corn. Okay, leaving about an inch. And repeating the same process. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all my cans, jars. One thing that I forgot to do that I just remembered because I got water on here is to wipe down the top of the jar. And I just use a clean tea cloth. That's important. So there's no obstruction. There's nothing to obstruct it. And that way you get a good seal. So now I gotta take out the other ones. Not a big deal. Good thing I remembered. Well, I got pretty lucky there. I happened to guess, seriously, it's pure luck, which size containers for the corn. Pretty good. And another thing I forgot to mention, you want to also check to make sure your jars do not have any cracks or nicks because they will break or not seal. So it's all about, you know, making sure you have a good seal. Let's stick that in. There you go. One thing I wanted to add, because I'm using just my tap water to do this, I do have hard water, so you can add 2 tablespoons of vinegar. You could use the cheap stuff because you're just trying to prevent like the hard water deposits to show up on your jars. It's not a big deal if it does, but it just makes the jars look cloudy. So to prevent that, just add a couple tablespoons of vinegar to your water. And I really didn't measure exactly 2 tablespoons, eyeball it. I'm gonna place the lid on and I'm just gonna match up this indentation and then turn it. And then you're gonna put the little green thing down and lock it. Okay? And Then what we're gonna do is we're not gonna put the regulator back on yet. We're gonna press this button right here and heat will appear. And we're gonna let that heat up. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna heat up the water and it's gonna do some, what they call the venting phase. So as it's going through this heating process, it's kind of sputtering out. You definitely don't want to put this underneath a counter. First of all, it's so tall. Amazing. Like that. Okay, so what I did was I just moved the dial to the can and then it stopped. Still beeping, so let me figure out what I need to do. Okay, we've entered canning phase. Woot woot, and it's counting down.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Thanks, voice from beyond. All right, so 55 minutes. I did get an error E10. I had to start all over, which my suggestion for you is if you're going to do this for the first time, possibly do it during the week, during their hours of operation, so that if you have questions, you can ask them. I did not think that through, but what I did think through was doing a canning process that was really cheap, $1.34. So if I mess this up, it's $1.34, rather than it being a lot of chicken or something like that. Stay tuned. Okay, this is still cooling down. And you can't even mess it up because if you try to unlock this, see, this is still high, so the pressure's still up. So you gotta wait until this tells you. It's gonna be a while. Okay, it finally says 005, and the instructions say I can now open it up. So this can now turn and lift. And let's see what happens. The big reveal. Dun, 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 dun. Do we have corn? We have corn. So I'm gonna let this vent a little bit, and then I'm gonna set them on my cookie sheet, and I need 2 hands to do that. Okay, so we have to wait until it says done before we can lift the jars out. So we'll wait. Okay, it says done. Moment of truth. I found my canning tongs. So let's lift this up. It looks like corn. It's yellow, like a bright yellow. That's what canned corn looks like. And I did not add salt because adding salt is optional. And I don't like to have salt if I don't need it. And you could always salt it later. All right, here it is. Still bubbling. And I just heard 2 pings. So that's good. Okay, so excited. First time I've ever done corn. Wasn't so bad. Now I know what to do. So I will do a better job the next time, and it won't take me as long because now I know what to do. But looking forward to having this corn. And now it'll just be shelf stable, and my husband's really excited about this. He's always so supportive of my endeavors. I'm very grateful for that. So anyhow, now he's going to be able to make his own food a lot easier. That's the plan. Okay, really appreciate you watching this video. I plan on making more videos with the Presto digital pressure canner. The first USDA approved electric canner. I should say pressure canner, because there's one that Ball makes, but it's really for jam and jellies, which is more of a water bath kind of thing, where this is where you can really can everything. And this also has a water bath feature. So really, this is it. I paid with tax included, it was $250, and it had free shipping. And I had a call because I could not figure out how to add the pressure canner to the cart. So I just called, and the customer service person was able to take my info over the phone and FedExed it to me. So get it, because they're probably going to sell out because of all this crazy COVID stuff. And I'm planning on canning to prevent me from having to go to the stores in the winter, wherein, people are going to be sick. So that's why I'm doing this. Plus, not to be an alarmist, because I hate that too, but I'm also going to have a good harvest, hopefully, and, my communion garden, and I plan on having lots of beans, and so I want to can green beans and tomatoes. So stay tuned. Okay, thanks for watching. As always, I really appreciate when you like and you leave positive comments, and subscribe. Please subscribe. It really makes me happy, and it helps grow my channel. Okay, until next time, remember, life after 40 is good, and so are you. And so is this canned corn. Doesn't it look gorge? Okay, bye-bye.